You have been doing the arithmetic of your life again, haven't you, my child? Adding up the years behind you, counting the chances you let pass, the turns you took wrong, the doors you walked away from, the time you cannot get back, and reaching, the way you always do, the same verdict you have handed yourself 1,000 times in the dark. Too late. Too late for me now. The good years are spent. The page is mostly written, and what is left is too little and too marred to matter. I want to speak to that verdict tonight, not to scold you for reaching it, because I understand exactly how a person arrives there, but to tell you that the one whose opinion actually decides the worth of a life has not signed it. You have passed a sentence on yourself that I have not passed on you, and I have come to tell you so. So set the ledger down for a moment, the one where you keep totaling your regrets, and sit with me. Let me look at your life with you, with eyes that see what you cannot. I know what is in that ledger. I know the hour you keep it open. It is rarely the bright middle of the day. It is the dark middle of the night. When the house is quiet and there is nothing left to distract you, and the accounting begins on its own, unbidden. You lie there and the figures rise up. The years, the losses, the things you can no longer change, totaled and retotaled until the number feels like a sentence handed down. And you cannot sleep for the weight of a life examined and found wanting at 2 in the morning by the harshest judge you know, which is yourself. And I know how the regret has crept forward and stolen your present too. It is not content to stay in the past where it belongs. It sits beside you in the good moments and whispers that you do not deserve them, or that they are too small and too late to count. It keeps you from enjoying what is actually in front of you now, because part of you is always back there, mourning what is behind. The regret does not only grieve the lost years, it quietly spoils the ones you still have, which is its cruelest trick of all. I have watched it steal your todays in the name of your yesterdays, and I want it stopped. I know the road not taken, the one you still drive down in your imagination, the path you could have walked if you had been braver or wiser, or if things had broken differently, or if you had not made the choice you made. You have replayed that fork in the road so many times, standing at it again and again, taking the other path in your mind and watching the better life unspool, and then coming back to this one, the real one, and feeling the loss of all of it pressed fresh into your chest. I know the dreams that did not happen, the things you meant to do, the person you meant to become, the life you assumed was coming when you were young, and the years still stretched out long and full of room. And somewhere along the way, the room ran out, quietly, while you were busy surviving, and the dreams got folded up and put away. And now, when you take them out and look at them, they only ache, because there does not seem to be time left to live them. I know the wrong turns, the real ones, the choices you would give anything to unmake. Not just the missed chances, but the actual mistakes, the ones that cost you years, or cost you people, or set your life on a road you never would have chosen if you had understood. And the cruelest part of those is that you cannot go back. You cannot return to that younger self and grab their arm and say, "Not this way." The damage is done. The time is spent. And you have been carrying the receipt for it ever since. And I know that some of the deepest entries in that ledger are not things, but people. A relationship you let go cold that you would give anything to warm again. A marriage that did not survive. A child or a friend or a parent grown distant across years you cannot replay. Words said that cannot be unsaid, or words never said that should have been. And now perhaps the person is beyond your reach, gone or estranged or simply lost to time. And the regret has nowhere to go and nothing to do but ache. Those are the heaviest pages, the ones written in people's names. And I know exactly which names are written there for you. And I know how it grieves you to think of what you spent your years on. Perhaps you gave them to fear and stayed small when you were meant to be brave. Perhaps you gave them to pleasing people who were never pleased. Perhaps you gave them to something that took more than it gave. A habit, an escape, a wrong road you knew was wrong and walked anyway. And now you look back and it feels like you handed your one life to things that did not deserve it. And there is a particular grief in that. The grief of squandered time, of a gift not used the way it was meant to be used. I do not make light of that grief. It is real, and I sit in it with you. And I am not here to tell you the waste was not waste. I am here to tell you what I can still do with what is left, and even with what was lost. And I know the comparing. You look at where others are, where you thought you would be by now, where you imagine you should be, and the gap between the life you are living and the life you expected sits on you like a verdict. Everyone else seems to have arrived somewhere, and you feel like you are still standing at the station, holding a ticket for a train that left without you. And underneath all of it is that one heavy, final-sounding word, the one that does the most damage of all. Too late. Too late to change. Too late to begin. Too late to become anything other than what these years have already made me. I am too old, too far down this road, too set, too spent, too much the sum of what I have already done and failed to do. It is the word that closes the door and turns out the light. And it is a lie, my child. One of the most paralyzing lies you will ever be told. And I want to take it apart tonight, gently, piece by piece, because I know what makes the word feel so final to you. Your age. The years themselves have become the bars of the cell. When you were young, too late was never quite believable. There was always time, always room to change course. But now the number is high enough that too late feels simply true, a fact of arithmetic, not a feeling. I am too old now, you tell yourself, too set in my ways, too far down this particular road to turn onto any other. And so you have let the count of your years become a locked door. And tangled up in it is a quieter shame, the sense that you should have known better, that you had the chances and squandered them, that everyone else seemed to figure out how to live and you somehow did not. And so the regret is not only sad, but humiliating, a private failure you would not want anyone to see. You carry not just the loss of the years, but the embarrassment of having lost them, as though your regret were proof of some defect in you that others do not share. Set both of those down, my child, the age and the shame, because I am about to tell you that neither one has the authority over your life that you have given it. Because here is the first thing, and you must hear it clearly. I am not finished writing your story, and the author decides when the book is done, not the reader who has lost hope in the middle of it. You have been reading your own life as though the ending were already printed, as though the regret you feel in this chapter were the final word. But you are not the author. I am. And I do not write the way you fear I do. I am famous, all through my word, for the chapter that turns everything. The comeback no one saw coming. The late and unlikely redemption. I do not rush to the ending, and I do not waste the middle, even the parts of the middle that look, to you, like nothing but loss. You have read enough stories to know that a chapter of defeat near the middle is not the same as the ending. If you stopped reading any of my great lives at their lowest point, you would close the book certain it was a tragedy. Stop Joseph's story in the pit or the prison, and it is a tragedy. Stop Moses' story in the back of the desert, and it is a tragedy. Stop David's story in the cave, running for his life, and it is a tragedy. But none of them was a tragedy, because none of them was over. And the chapter of loss turned out to be the setup for the chapter of redemption. You have been doing to your own life what no good reader would do. You have stopped at the low chapter and declared the whole book a failure. But I am still turning the pages, my child. Do not write the ending I have not written. Do not eulogize a life I am still in the middle of redeeming. It is not by accident that you found your way to these words tonight. Weary of the arithmetic, half hoping someone would tell you it is not over. I brought you here because it is not over, and I wanted you to hear it from me. Stay with me a little longer, and let me show you why. Let me start where your hope is lowest, with the lie that it is too late to begin. I once told a story about a man who needed workers for his vineyard. He went out early in the morning and hired some, and they began their long day's labor. And he went out again at the middle of the day and hired more. And then, astonishingly, he went out again at the 11th hour, the very last hour of the working day, when the light was already fading. And he found people still standing there, unhired, idle, certain they had missed their chance entirely. And he hired them too. And when the day ended and the wages were paid, he gave those last workers, the ones who had come at the 11th hour and worked only a single hour, the very same full day's wage that he gave the ones who had labored since dawn. The early workers grumbled. Of course. They thought the latecomers should get less, that arriving late should cost them. But the master answered that he had done no one wrong, and that he was free to be as generous as he wished with what was his. The ones who came at the 11th hour did not receive a smaller portion because they came late. They received everything. And do not miss the most tender detail in that story. The master kept going out. He did not hire once and close the gate. All through the day, again and again, he went back out to the marketplace looking for the ones still standing there. And at the 11th hour, he was still looking, still coming, still calling people in who had given up on ever being chosen. That is the part I want you to hold on to. I have not stopped coming out for you, however late the hour feels. However long you have stood in that marketplace, certain you are passed over. I am still walking out to find you, still calling your name, still saying, "You also, come." There is still a place for you here. You did not arrive too late for a master who never stopped going out to look. Hear what I am telling you, in that, my child, in my kingdom, the 11th hour is still the day. The ones who come late are not turned away, and they are not shortchanged. If you have spent the long hours of your life standing idle in the marketplace, certain it was too late, certain the chance had passed you by, hear me call to you even now, even at this hour, and come. There is no clock on my mercy that strikes too late. The vineyard is still open. The wage is still full. You have not missed it. I am still hiring, even at the 11th hour. And what I pay the latecomer is everything. And to the regret that ties you to the past, hear what I built into the very structure of time itself, as a mercy. My word says, "It is of the Lord's mercies that we are not consumed, because his compassions fail not. They are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness." Do you know who wrote those words? A man sitting in the rubble of everything he had loved, in the middle of grief and ruin, remembering his affliction and his misery, his soul humbled within him. And in the very depths of that, he turned his mind to one thing and found hope in it, that my mercies are new every morning, not stretched, not recycled, not running low because of how much you have already spent. New every single morning, a fresh supply, as though the day before had not happened. This is why no amount of yesterday can use up my grace for today. You wake each morning into mercy that has never been touched, that is not diminished by 1 ounce by all your years of mistakes. Today's mercy is new, and tomorrow's will be new again. This is why no morning has to be a continuation of the morning before. You have been living as though each new day were simply the next page of the same sad story. The regret carried forward and added to, the total always growing. But that is not how my mercy works. Each dawn, I am not handing you the leftover scraps of yesterday's grace. I am giving you a fresh and full supply, made new, as if the slate of the day were clean. You are allowed to begin again every single morning, not because the past did not happen, but because my compassions do not run out, and they do not keep a running tally against you, and they meet you new at every sunrise, no matter how the day before went. However many mornings you have wasted, tomorrow's will arrive just as new as if it were the first. If something in you is beginning to lift, my child, do not let it sink back down the moment these words end. The arithmetic will start again. It always does. If it would help to come back here, to hear me say it is not too late on the next night, the old verdict returns. You are welcome, as many times as you need. I am not in a hurry with you, and I do not tire of telling you the truth about your life. Now let me speak to the deepest fear, the one that says you are only the sum of what you have already done, that your past has fixed who you must be. My word says, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new. Hear how total that is. Not patched, not improved, new. When you come to me, you do not merely get your old self with the worst parts sanded down. You become a new creation, and the old things, the wreckage, the wasted years, the person you were ashamed of being, are declared passed away. Your past is no longer the thing that defines you. I define you now. And I define you not by the worst day of your life, or the wrong turn, or the dream you let die, but by what I am making you into, starting today, starting now. You are not the sum of your regrets. You are the sum of what I am still doing in you, and I have only just begun. Think of what that word new actually means. Not a repaired version of the old thing, dragging all its history behind it. A new creation, the way the morning is new, the way spring is new after a long dead winter. The wrong turns do not get to ride along into who you are becoming. I declare them passed away. The version of you that you are ashamed of, the one who made the choices you regret, is not the verdict on who you are now. When the accuser, or your own tired mind, brings up that old self and says, "This is who you really are. This is all you will ever be," you may answer with my word, "Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new." You are not who you were. You are who I am remaking you to be. And I am not bound by your past when I make you. Let me show you this in a man whose past was worse than yours. Before he was the great apostle, Paul spent his strength hunting down and destroying the very people he would later die alongside. He had real blood on his hands, real ruin in his past, the kind of regret that does not get easier with the years. And when I met him and turned his whole life around, he had a choice to make about all those wasted, terrible years behind him. He could have spent the rest of his life crushed under them, looking backward, certain that a man with a past like his could never be of any use. Instead, he wrote these words, "And I want you to make them your own, forgetting those things which are behind, and reaching forth unto those things which are before. I press toward the mark." Notice he does not say the past did not happen. He does not pretend or excuse or minimize. He calls it what it was. But he refuses to live there. "This one thing I do," he says, "forgetting what is behind, reaching for what is ahead." He turns his face from the rear-view mirror to the road in front of him, and he presses forward. And the man with the ruined past became the one I used to carry my name across the world. Not in spite of being too late. There was no too late. There was only forward, and grace, and a life that still had a mark to press toward. And here is what should undo the lie completely. Paul did not get an early start. By the world's accounting, he had already wasted the most important years of his life on the very opposite of his calling, doing harm where he would later do the most good. If anyone had a right to say, "I have ruined it, I have squandered my best years, it is too late to be of any use," it was that man. And instead, the second redeemed half of his life, so outshone the wasted first half that the world has remembered him for 2,000 years. The years he thought were lost were not the end of his story. They were the dark first chapter of the greatest comeback in my word. I do not measure a life by how it began, or by the years in the middle that went wrong. I measure it by where it ends up, and the end is not yet written for you. You cannot drive forward, my child, while staring into the rearview mirror. There is a reason the windshield is large and the mirror is small. Where you are going matters more than where you have been. You have been trying to steer your life by staring backward at the road already traveled, and it has kept you stuck and grieving and certain you have already arrived at your worst. Turn your eyes to the windshield. The road ahead is shorter than it once was. Yes, but it is still road. It is still yours to drive. And I am in the car. And here is the promise that gathers up even the wreckage. The thing I do with the wasted years that you cannot do for yourself. My word says, all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose. Hear this carefully, because it is precious and it is often misused. I am not telling you that the wrong turns were secretly good, or that the wasted years did not matter, or that the painful things were my doing. The wrong was wrong. The loss was real. I do not ask you to pretend otherwise. What I am telling you is something deeper and harder and more wonderful. That I am able to take all of it, the good and the wasted and the broken and the regretted, and weave it together toward good. I am the redeemer of lost time. I can reach back into the years the locusts ate and bring something living out of them. The mistakes you would unmake, I can make into the very testimony that frees someone else. The detours you grieve, I can fold into a road that arrives, finally, somewhere good. Nothing in your life is too wasted for me to redeem. Nothing is mere garbage in my hands. Bring me the whole ruined ledger and watch what I can make of it. I am, after all, the God who made the universe out of nothing and life out of dust. Making something good out of your wasted years is not too hard for me. I do my best work, often, with the material a person is most ashamed of. The years you would tear out of the book, I can turn into the very pages that someone else most needs to read. The road you regret walking down, I can use to make you a guide for others lost on it. Even the relationships you grieve, even the losses you think are simply gone, are not beyond the reach of a God who specializes in resurrection. I am not promising you that I will hand back the exact life you missed, the precise dream that did not come true. I will not lie to you to comfort you. I am promising something better and surer, that nothing you bring me, no matter how late, no matter how wasted, is too far gone for me to weave into good. Hand me the years, even the eaten ones. I am the redeemer of lost time. So here is how I would have you live now, my child, in whatever time remains, be it many years or few. First, stop trying to drive by the rear-view mirror. The past is for glancing at, not for staring into. Glance back to learn, to remember the lessons, even to grieve honestly what was lost. But do not live there. You have a windshield for a reason. Turn your eyes to what is in front of you, the road that is still yours, and steer by that. Second, let today be the new morning that it is. You do not have to redeem your whole life tonight, or recover all the lost years at once. You only have to receive this one day's mercy, which is new and untouched and waiting for you. Live this day. Do the next right thing in front of you. A life is not changed all at once. It is changed one new morning at a time, and you have one of those tomorrow, and another after that. Third, give me the years that remain, however many they are. You have been mourning the years that are gone, and I understand. But you still have these. You still have today, and likely many more. And what you do with the time that is left is not decided by what you did with the time that is spent. Hand me the rest of your road. Even a short stretch of road, surrendered to me, can go further and mean more than you can imagine. Some of the most fruitful chapters of a life are its later ones, written by people who thought the book was already closed. And do not measure those remaining years by their number, as though only a long stretch could be worth surrendering. A single year given fully to me can hold more life than a decade spent in regret. A single restored relationship, a single soul you point toward me, a single season of finally living as you were made to live, can outweigh all the years you mourn. I am not impressed by length. I am moved by surrender. Bring me what you have left, even if it feels like very little, even if it feels like only the end of the day. The 11th hour worker brought 1 hour, and it was enough for a full reward. Bring me your 1 hour. It is enough. Fourth, let me make your past into something useful instead of something that only wounds you. The very regret you carry, the mistakes, the wasted seasons, the hard-won and painful lessons, are the raw material I use to make people wise and gentle and able to help others who are where you once were. Do not despise your story for its broken chapters. In my hands, a redeemed regret becomes a gift to someone still lost in the same place. Offer me even the parts you are ashamed of. I waste nothing. There is no one as able to comfort the grieving as the one who has grieved. No one as able to reach the addict as the one who was bound and set free. No one as able to sit with the person at the fork in the road as the one who took the wrong turn and lived to tell of my mercy on the other side. The very experiences you would erase are the ones that make you able to help in ways the untouched never can. I am not in the habit of using only the polished and the unbroken. I have always done my most tender work through people whose own scars matched the wounds they were sent to heal. Your regret, handed to me, does not stay regret. It becomes compassion and credibility, and a map for someone still lost where you once were. The wasted years are not wasted once I get hold of them. They become the place you speak from and release the if only. This is the chain that holds you. If only I had. If only I had not. If only things had gone differently. You will never untie that knot by pulling on it, because it cannot be untied. The past is fixed, but it can be handed to me. The if only is a prayer you have been praying to a closed door. Turn around. The open door is behind you. and it leads forward. And I am standing in it, holding out not the life you missed, but a life still worth living, starting from exactly where you are. I know how the "if only" calls to you, how it promises that if you just replay the moment enough times, you will somehow find the version where you chose differently and it all turned out. But there is no such version waiting at the bottom of that well. Only your own reflection, growing more tired and more grieved. The hours you spend down there, imagining the life you might have had, are hours stolen from the life you can still have. So each time the "if only" begins, answer it out loud if you must. That road is closed, and I am not living on it. This road is open, and my God is on it with me. And then take one step forward on the road that is actually yours. And if the weight of regret has grown into something darker, my child, if you have begun to feel that the wasted years mean there is no point going on, that it is too late not just to change, but even to hope, then please, do not sit alone with that. Tell someone, your church, a person who loves you, a doctor or counselor who can help you carry it. That voice telling you your life is over and beyond saving is not my voice, and it is lying to you, and you should not have to answer it alone. Reach for help. It is one of the bravest and most forward-facing things you can do, and I will meet you in it. If these words have reached the place in you that had given up, do not keep sitting in that verdict alone tonight. You do not have to list your regrets or tell the story of where it all went wrong. Just right below, 3 words: it's not too late. Say it once, out loud to yourself and to me, even if you do not fully believe it yet, and let the others here say it alongside you. A whole crowd of people who thought their stories were over, declaring together that they are not. I hear every one of those voices, and the long weariness behind each one, and I answer every single one of them. No, my child, it is not too late. So turn around, my child. You have been facing the wrong way, staring down the road behind you at everything that is gone, when the whole time I have been standing in front of you, pointing at the road still ahead. The years behind you are not the verdict on your life. They are the first part of a story whose ending I have not yet written. And I write good endings. And I specialize in the ones that begin far too late by every human measure and turn out to be right on time by mine. The vineyard is still open, and the hour is not too late, and the wage is still full. The morning is still coming, and its mercy is still new. The road is still yours to drive, and I am still in the car. And the one who holds the map has never once believed what you believe about yourself tonight. I have watched you sit in this verdict for a long time, my child. The engine off, the car parked at the side of the road, staring into the mirror at the miles already driven. Certain there was no point going on because so much was already behind you. But a life is not over because much of it is behind. A journey is not finished because you can see where you started. The miles you have driven are not the measure of the miles that remain. And the ones that remain are the only ones you can do anything about. So lift your foot off the brake of regret. Put the car back in gear. The destination I have for you was never canceled by the wrong turns. I have simply been waiting, patiently, at the side of the road, for you to stop staring backward and start driving again. So stop adding up what is behind you. Let me show you what is still ahead. Lift your eyes from the ledger and the rearview mirror and look out the windshield, at the road, at the light, at the open vineyard, at the new morning coming. It is not too late. It was never too late. With me, my child, it never is. Drive on. I am with you, and the best of the road may yet be the part you have not driven.